Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Graham from the School of Teacher Education at National Taiwan Normal University. Welcome to my office hours. This semester, I'm going to do something a little bit different. In the past, each semester I would make these videos by myself in my office. And to be frank, it took a lot of time. And so this semester, what I've done is I've hired one of my wonderful students, Selena Leo, to act as my producer for this channel. And so we're going to try something new in this video where she's going to actually ask me the questions in person. So, Selena, welcome.
Hi, Dr. Graham.
All right, Selena, what do you want to talk about today?
Okay. So, actually, last week, I watched a video with Dr. Chen. Yeah. And I think one of the key idea was that it is very important for bilingual teachers to explain to students why we do bilingual education. So, my question today is, can you provide some strategy for the teacher use in class to help students better understand why we do bilingual learning?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I don't know if I'm going to provide any explicit strategy, but what I would like to do is maybe talk about the concept of authenticity. Because even if you're telling students, oh, well, someday you might need to use English in your job, or someday you might need to use English for this purpose. What we have to understand is that our junior high school and high school students aren't actually developed enough to be able to understand concepts like that in the future. And so, with that in mind, what we're going to have to do in terms of convincing students to want to do bilingual education is we really have to make it authentic. So, for example, you're a civics teacher,
Yeah.
right? So, in what ways is English important in your subject? We'd probably want to engage them in activities where they have to actually use English in an authentic manner. And then that would kind of explain itself to them why we need to do this. Now, taking the case of PE, for example, since that conversation in my last video last semester was with Professor Chen. I don't remember the conversation exactly, but in the conversation, or at least in conversations I've had with him, really the connection is international sports. So for a PE teacher, if you're going to do something like an international sport, there might be materials related to that where English is used. And so that authenticity there kind of tells you exactly why you need to use bilingual education. So we should strive to make everything that we do authentic because English is useful. It is a useful language. So we have to help our students see the usefulness and the utility of it.
What about like some of our students may talk to the teacher at the very beginning, like, teacher, I won't use English in my future. I may just go fishing or fix the car or something like that. What can we talk to our student, or how can bilingual teacher can fix this problem like this?
Okay, so when I heard what you were talking about, I heard you say fix the car, which is very much what they do kind of in vocational high schools in Taiwan. And so that's a question you might very well get from someone in a vocational high school. One thing is that you have to explain to your students nobody knows what they're going to do in the future, especially at their age. And I think I'm in a very good position to explain this to students because my original degree is music education. And I am very much not doing music education anymore. Now, I am still in the broader domain of education, but I'm not really doing music. And so, things that we think we're going to do and the path that life takes us on tend to be very different. So, it's probably worth explaining to students first that, well, you never know what happens in life. You might think one thing happens and then another thing will. But in particular, for the example of vocational high school or vocational students, oftentimes in these types of industries, the most up to date information comes in English first. So a new car comes out and the manual is going to be in English first. If a repair person wants to know the most up to date information, well, English can be very helpful. It's very helpful in any of the technical fields. It always comes in English first. So students need to know that. But beyond that, Bilingual 2030, yes, it's affecting the local students and, impacting the way we do education. And a lot of it is driven towards, raising the English proficiency of the students in Taiwan. But that's not its only goal. The Taiwanese government very much want to create an environment that attracts foreign companies to come here, to bring employees, to set up branch offices. And if you read the newspaper, you're seeing increasingly different policies to encourage this type of work immigration. So what does this matter to some of our students? Well, their customers may be international visitors or international residents in the future. And being able to at least speak a little bit of English about the thing that you do, whether it's fixing cars or whether it's, even fishing and then selling the fish on the market, it can be very helpful to have a little bit of English. And so we don't expect children to necessarily know all of the English language and necessarily be able to be professional translators. That's not really our goal. Our goal is for them to be able to communicate. And so if we can just convince our students, hey, you might meet someone in the future and you need to just be able to communicate a little, I think that's good enough. What do you think?
I think what you say is just really insightful for me.
Is it too ideal?
Is it too ideal? I think no, because what we are going to talk to students is about we won't know what the future will happen, but if we can have more ability on the student right now, that I think can let the student to have a better future or have the better ability to face the uncertain their career.
And I think we'll end on that today. And I want to grab onto something that you said. You said the word uncertain. That's what we do in education. Whether you're doing bilingual education or a monolingual education, your job as a teacher is to prepare students for an unknown, for an uncertain future. You don't know what your students are going to do in the future. Your students don't know what they're going to do in the future. And your job has always been to prepare them for that uncertain, unknown future, to give them the tools, the foundation, that whatever path they take in life, they can be successful. And, for me, I think knowing English and being bilingual is a really important tool for an unknown, uncertain future. I think it can set them up for success. So I believe in it. But that being said, if you don't believe that English or bilingualism is a tool they need for the future, then this is going to be a very hard sell. So you'll have to ask yourself, is it? Do people need this for the uncertain, unknown future? And then you can decide the type of bilingual education, if you do it at all, and how you will proceed with it. And I think the answer to that question also will answer the original question. How do we explain this to students? Maybe that's the answer, the uncertain, unknown future. Thank you for attending my office hours. If you have any questions about this video or other things about bilingual education, send me an email at kmgraham@ntnu.edu.tw. I'll see you next time.